Hey Hunters, Halozu here for another video looking at a surprise option here. I was not actually expecting a new Villainous Options UA, yet it immediately came out. Like, soon as it's done, bam, here's a new one. So anyway, let us look into this. So I haven't had much time to see this. This is very last minute. I apologize for that, but we've got a new Barbarian Path, Monk Way, and Warlock Patron to look at. So we start with the Barbarian and Path of Lament. So their first ability, which is their only ability at first, is Banshee's Wail. So all you get is when you activate Rage or as a bonus action later, while raging, you do a 30-foot emanation around you. Enemies have to make a con save or take psychic damage and be deafened for a minute. So basically you roll d12s equal to your rage damage bonus, so it starts at 2d12, builds up to 4d12 damage, which is pretty good. And note, this is of your choice, so this is ally-friendly, which is great. Now, you only get con uses per day, and you can actually expend a use of Rage to regain them all. That's actually pretty silly that you can do that. I'm not sure if this should be spend a Rage to get them all back, but it's better than nothing as a way to say, hey, I want to use this more. It's definitely a powerful feature, giving you a big AoE. I'm not the biggest fan of this being the only ability. I kind of wish they got another passive here as, like, maybe just resistance to necrotic damage as a passive of, hey, you also resist necrotic and poison damage. Since those are commonly resisted, so it basically just something to me to be like, hey, you passively do this now. Also a bit weird that it's psychic, but I do get why. But as it stands, cool idea. My only issue, like, it's cool, don't get me wrong. I just question whether the expend a Rage to regain all uses or is the best, and I also want something else at this level. Even if it's just a bit of a fluff feature that doesn't add that much, something would be nice here. Then we get Commune with Dead. Speak with Dead as a ritual. Wiz is your spellcasting ability for it, which actually, let me double check real quick. Does that even matter? It might not even matter. So, let's see. Flip through the wonderful book. So, as I recall, Speak with Dead doesn't really care about it, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah. The spellcasting ability doesn't really matter. It's just there. Like, yes, it's Commune with Dead. So, nice fluff feature, and it's paired with Horrifying Strike, which, when you hit with a strength-based attack roll and Rage, you can make them do a Wiz save against your save DC, or be frightened until the start of your next turn. That is quite powerful. So, it is definitely really nice to have that as a constant effect. And, at the very least, you get some utility, fluff ability, and the ability to put fears out, which is both pretty cool. Then Otherworldly Anguish. So, this has... So, Impenetrable Sorrow first doesn't really matter. You can't be possessed. Very limited utility on it. And then here's Resistance, which, funny I mentioned that, I forgot that it's all the way at 10th. But it adds cold and necrotic resistance. Kind of feel like this should be earlier. If you're going to get resistances, they should be earlier. Also, I think if it's going to do necrotic stuff, then the Banshee Wail ability should be necrotic or cold. Or they should have psychic instead of cold, maybe. I do get why this is a thematic choice, but it is kind of weird that it's like, oh, your resistances are cold and necrotic, which you do nothing with currently. Like, all of your stuff is psychic-based, which is kind of weird. And then there's Deathly Wail, which is actually quite absurd. So, if a target fails the save on Banshee's Wail, and it has 20 HP or less, when you get the ability, it dies. You kill them immediately. Now, I do believe the order of operations specifically creates a weird effect where if you drop the creature to 20 HP or less, it doesn't trigger. So personally, I would swap this to trigger on damage with Deathly Wail as a way to make it where it's like, well, if they wouldn't take damage from Deathly Wail, why would they be affected by this? And also, so if Deathly Wail drops them to within 20 HP or less, or within your execute range, then it executes them. But, as it stands, this is a really cool ability. For what it is, it's great. This is more of a... There's a bit of jank with it. I think maybe it should do damage after, rather than be, oh, when you hit them, like, before you do damage, if they have 20 HP or less, then you kill them. Instead, it should be after you damage them. If they have that, then they die. Just this clarification is it. And don't get me wrong, as it stands right now, this is really cool. It's just maybe this should trigger after on the damage, not the failed save. Then Sorrow Form from level 14. Basically, when you activate your rage, once per day, you can get the benefit of Sorrow Form for 1 minute. I would specify... There is no reason for this to have a separate rage, and just have this be while that rage lasts. So, if that rage ends, then you lose this. But you get the benefits of immunity to Charmed and Frightened, so not bad. And you can't gain exhaustion levels. So, the exhaustion bit is not amazing. It's not often it comes up. Now, this does come with the asterisk that we don't really know what monsters Ravenloft and whatever this book is being paired with, these classes are being paired with. We might be seeing more monsters that cause exhaustion. I don't know, but as of now, this is more of a fluff thing of it's not going to do much, but it might do something. But I will put the asterisk. This is based on what we know and have right now. There is a full chance that this becomes way better after Ravenloft and whatever the Villainous Monsters book gives us. Then Life-Draining Strikes. When Horrifying Strikes triggers, the creature takes 2d10 necrotic damage and you regain HP equal to the necrotic damage dealt. This is just absurd. So, basically, once per turn, you can get an extra 2d10 damage on top of all of your other extra damage. This build is absurdly powerful. Like, you're able to spam out a 4d12 burst damage, and you're able to constantly start hitting enemies with a save that can do tons of damage and heal you. This is incredibly powerful. It is nice that it's an all-or-nothing ability, however, which I actually prefer. If you have multiple chances to do it, I think it's better to have that be all or nothing. Now, for Banshee's Wail, it doing half damage is better as it does have limited uses, albeit by this point it's not that limited. And this is another point where maybe they shouldn't be able to get back all their uses by spending a rage, because it's kind of silly if you're using Sorrow Form to just do tons of damage. And then you are also undead for the duration. For the most part, this isn't going to matter too much, but this will have some... Because by this point, you shouldn't be encountering that much hold person or effects that only target humanoids. For the most part, this isn't going to matter too much, but do keep in mind that it's there. Once again, this is more of a fluff thing, though this one, I'm pretty confident. Most of the time, it's not going to come up. There are some enemies, though, that do have stuff like Hold Person, even though it's not necessarily, like, on level. They do have it, so do keep that in mind. Some things will trigger this. Next up, though, we have... So, overall, I kind of like it. There's just a few tweaks here and there that I'd make. Move the resistance up to 3rd level. Tweak how Deathly Wail works. And that's it, honestly. It's fine as it is. It's definitely powerful. Not as absurdly overpowered as our wonderful cleric from last time. Which, congrats, wizards. You broke cleric even more. But anyway, going on to our next one. The Way of Venom for Monk. Still hate the subclass name. I am sick of seeing these. It doesn't fit. But anyway, let's get to the weird one. So, I haven't fully been able to read these, but I did notice something that comes up weird immediately. We'll get to it, though. So, level 3, we get Venom Weapon. So you can, at the start of your turn, you can spend focus to apply a poison to a monk weapon you're holding. And you can choose when you apply. So, you can do a slowing toxin, which halves the target speeds, can't take reactions, and it can take an action or bonus action on its turn, not both. This is mean. Like, seriously, that is absurd. Just a reliable daze option is pretty crazy. And then Venom. Oh boy, that is... Yeah, extra poison damage equal to 2 martial arts dice. Whoo, boy, that is quite powerful. So these last for a minute, or until you deal damage with the weapon. So, do note, if you're dual-wielding daggers, you can apply it to one dagger, and if you miss, it doesn't use the poison, and then if the next turn you apply poison to your other dagger, and then you end up stabbing someone with both daggers, it triggers both. So that can lead to some absolutely absurd nuke turns. Though, do keep in mind, this is involving a bad case where you did have to miss on your previous turn, but being able to just at will daze or just spike with poison, it's pretty powerful. So this is yet another bursty monk option, and it definitely feels more powerful than I think it should be right now. Monk overall has gotten a big power boost, and from experience, they do a lot of damage. I don't think they need this much more, and I do question if this should be a monk. I kind of want this to be a Venom or like a poison or rogue, because they actually do need the damage buff. But I think as it stands, very powerful. Then Potent Arsenal, get a Poisoner's Kit, and you can create basic poisons in a day instead of however long it does take, which I guess is more than that. And when you deal poison damage with a monk feature or weapon, you can change it to acid. So basically, hey, you know how poison's the worst damage type in the game? Yeah, you don't have to worry about that. And another thing to keep in mind, you can abuse this elemental adept with this. You're welcome. That's actually really powerful. So, definitely feels quite good. And do note that because it works with monk weapons, if you poison a monk weapon with a basic poison, I think that counts. So then we have at level 6, Toxic Touch. So as a magic action, spend a focus point to apply a toxin with your touch. Yeah, this is a bit weird. So basically, you take your standard action and a focus point to do this, and it has to make a con save or be poisoned for a minute and have one of the following effects. So you can either charm, knock him unconscious, or apply a truth serum. As it stands, it's, for one, this is where it gets a bit weird, as the other two features that you already have care about using a monk weapon. This explicitly wants you to touch them, as in touch them with your bare hand. Gets a bit weird. Overall, cool idea, but I question why this is a standard action. I feel like this should probably be as part of the attack action. You can replace an attack with this, essentially, where it's like you use the attack action, and instead of doing an attack, you can toxic touch somebody. As it is, it's good, more utility focused, but it's also like you just get utility out of this. It's not bad, just, yeah, it feels out of place with the toolkit. Level 11, Toxin Refiner. You're immune to poison damage. And when you deal poison damage, or when you be subjected to poison damage, your Venom weapon options each deal extra poison damage equal to 1 martial arts die. Can't gain it again until the end of your next turn. And whenever you ingest a poison, you regain a number of HP equal to a roll of your martial arts die. So, this is another just straight up weird feature where... Now, for one, I should point out, as it's written, this doesn't work. You're immune to poison damage, yet when you're subjected to it, you get a bonus, this should definitely be cleared up and say, if you would take poison damage, if you would have taken poison damage, then you get this benefit till the end of your next turn. And then also, whenever you drink a poison, you regain HP equal to your martial arts die. I'd also maybe add that this also gives you, like, the poison damage it would do, as well. As, like, just any poison, you drink it, 1 martial arts die. Doesn't matter if it's basic poison or, say, Wyvern's Blood that does, like, 12d12 poison damage. Which is a bit weird, so it's like, I don't know. This one, once again, it's just weird. Now the other feature you get, because fortunately that's not the only one. It's not like Toxic Touch. Whenever a creature hits you with a melee attack, they take 1d6 poison damage. And if you're bloodied, it's instead your martial arts die. Honestly, I kind of question why this... Well, I guess it would be very powerful if it was just martial arts die and then became 2, but as it stands, this is not amazing, but actually very useful. And it actually plays better because monks are so squishy in HP, relative to other classes, of course, that it actually works out surprisingly well. So, where it's easier to get bloodied, so you can trigger it the full damage easier. It's definitely a nice feature, and because you can make it acid, it doesn't fall into the trap of poison options being really bad. Then at the end we get Hallucinogenic Breath, so you can spend 2 focus points to replace an attack with a to spit hallucinogenic vapors at a creature in 30 feet, has to make a con save, or take poison damage equal to 3 rolls of martial arts dice, and be frightened for a minute, or until it takes damage. Yeah, the, until it takes damage is not great. And then also, like, while frightened, it has to take the dash action and move away from you's safest route. That is not bad, but not great. I don't know, a lot of these abilities overall, I'd say this is kind of a weird one, where it's not bad, just weird. Definitely needs some rewording, particularly to Toxic Touch and Toxic Refiner. I think also maybe a Venom weapon might need a nerf, because it's quite powerful as it is on a class that is already quite powerful. It's like, this would have been fine on 2014 Monk. This is not 2014 Monk. This is 2024 Monk. They are monsters in this edition. So then, last but not least, we get the Primordial Patron. So, this is very interesting. To me, it kind of comes off as a almost redux of Genie in some ways, but with some changes here and there. Notably, a few spells have been cut that were a bit too good. But let's get into it. So, we have a choice of Primordial Patron. Options seem, for the most part, similar to what you'd see with the Genie Patron, except I think Earth is back to acid. Because, yeah, like, great, I kind of get why, where it was like, we have fire is going to do fire, obviously. Water, obviously going to be cold. Air, obviously going to be electricity or lightning. That makes plenty of sense. And then there's acid as this fourth energy type that just gets adopted by Earth because there's nothing else that really makes sense. So, though I will say, with the addition of Thunder, I'm tempted to say maybe move Thunder to Earth, because I feel like that makes more sense. And then bring air, electricity or lightning to air. But as it stands, this is fine. It's just one of those weird things of, yes, hello, random association between earth and acid damage. It doesn't make any sense, but it's there. So it's funny to see that back. So then the Primordial spells. So you get Chromatic Orb and Dark Vision by default at 3rd level. And then, so just like Genie, you get 2 spell options. However, one is based on your element, and one is the universal options. And I gotta say, the universal options are so much better than before. You get Chromatic Orb, Dark Vision, Elemental Weapon, Summon Elemental, and Commune with Nature now. And Summon Elemental works very similar to how it works on Fathomless, where it's element locked, but it does at least make sense for them. Now, it does get pretty weird when it's like, oh yeah, by the way, the damage types are actually different based on which you're going for. So it's like, if it's earth or air, it doesn't match, which does feel like, okay, that's a bit weird now that you point it out. Which kind of brings in this sort of, it's a little weird to see the damage types split as they are. Because earth and air do different ones, but it is what it is. Now, as for the elemental spells, air gets Feather, Fall, and Shatter, so rough that this is now the only way to get Shatter on your Warlock, but hey, it's there. And even before it would have been fine as like, oh hey, this is a free spell now. So it works in that sense, but dang, is that annoying. That is like, oh yeah, this is the only way to get it now. They also get Fly, Freedom of Movement, and Steel Wind Strike, which last one's not great unless you're Pact to the Blade, but it's not, mind you, it's not terrible. It's just kind of weird and awkward to fit into your arsenal when it's like, oh, by the way, you have this spell that is explicitly designed for melee builds and not you. Have fun with it. Because you do have to teleport in melee range of a target, so that one's a bit awkward. Now, that said, it does make infinitely more sense on a Warlock than it does on effing Wizard. Because they have it for some reason. So it's not as bad here, and it's still a good spell, but it's not the best, and I kind of wish they could have gotten something better. Same with 4th rank. Freedom of movement is not that cool. Then we get to earth spells, so you get Entangle and Knock. So, yeah, specifically not Spike Growth, which, thank you for that. We don't need that mathematically best option, albeit, blunt take, it's actually never been the best at doing damage, because you had so many hoops to jump through, but it was mathematically the best if those many conditions lined up. But here, they don't have that. They just have Entangle and Knock, which is not bad. You get Plant Growth, Vitriolic Sphere, and Wall of Stone as well. So, solid set of spells. A bit more nature-y at first, but I think it's fine. I don't know what else you'd get. Well, actually, I will say, bite the bullet and reprint Erupting Earth just to give it to them. Please. Just bite the bullet and stop forcing it to only be Player's Handbook spells, because this one really needs Erupting Earth at 3rd rank, but it's fine. Fire, of course, gets Burning Hands, Heat Metal, Fireball, Wall of Fire, and Flame Strike. What did you expect? The only one I'd debate is maybe swap Flame Strike for Immolation, if you can get it. That's like my one nitpick. Then Water gets Alter Self for some reason, but kind of makes sense. Ice Knife, they get Water Walk. Yeah, not amazing. Control Water and Cone of Cold. Now, granted, as a free spell, Water Walk is fine. It's just one of those... Yeah, you can tell, it's not easy getting good spells for these when they just do not have the spell variety they needed. But as it stands, spell list is fine. You get some good spells all over the place here. I'm actually thinking about it. Earth, maybe swap Knock for Melf's Acid Arrow. I think that would be better to kind of play into the acid sub-theme they got. And since it would be a free spell, it's like, hey, you've got a nice free spell. But what are the actual features? So we get Elemental Node. So as a magic action, you make a 5-foot radius sphere of magic. And on later turns, you can use a bonus action to move it around. So lasts for a minute or until you dismiss it. Or you create another node. Once you use the feature, you can't use it again until you finish short or long rest, or use a packed magic slot to reuse it. When it appears, each creature other than you in the node gets to make a dex save, or take 1d6 of your chosen element's type, half on a successful save. But it also makes a save when it moves into its space. So when you move the node and it hits something, take the damage. And if it enters the node or ends its turn there. And it only makes a save once per turn. Personally, I'd swap the ends its turn to starts its turn. Just because I kind of prefer that is... Because it's kind of awkward when it's like, oh, well, if you... like, enter it and then end your turn there, it's a bit redundant. Like, end your turn there is a bit redundant, but it's fine. And then the most annoying part, the damage increases at not cantrip levels. Granted, similar to Fathomless's ability, I do get why they don't do that. It does kind of make sense as to why you wouldn't be able to do that, so it's fine. But so it's like, oh, at 6 and 14, you get a buffed elemental node, and it's actually pretty darn good. The elemental node is... This thing can easily turn into a monster if you place it down, and once again, it's good damage that doesn't rely on a lot of conditions to be met in order for it to work. So it's a good thing that you've got that going for it. So then, level 6, we get Elemental Haven. So this one gives you elemental protection, so while in the node, which immediately not great, the node is very small. So this isn't that useful for that, but... So it's not easy to stand in the node. If it was like, granted, 10-foot radius would kind of make it a bit big. So maybe have the elemental node be like, oh, if you can have it in your space, and then it affects a 5-foot emanation. So, like, you can place it above yourself, like, have it float around you, and then make a 5-foot emanation. That way you can trigger elemental protection easier, but while you're in the node, you get plus charisma to AC. An actually good AC buff for Pact of the Blade builds? Oh my gosh, it's amazing! That just sounds so wrong. Especially after last time where it was like, yeah, here's plus 2 AC if you don't wear armor and stand next to someone while using a limited use ability. Yay! That's great, right? So, it's not a stupid AC buff. It's not amazing, but as it stands, I think it is pretty nice to have. Like, it's great. And then Elemental Teleport. As a bonus action, you teleport to your node, or to the nearest unoccupied space in 5 feet of it, and you get charisma uses of this per day. So I believe... Oh no. Oh gosh, I've just... Yeah, you can do some absolutely stupid stuff. So granted, this is a quirk with the elemental node. It doesn't have a maximum range that you can maintain it. So you could, hypothetically, send it as far as you can, like, as far as, like, 30 feet per turn could get you plus 60. And then last turn, Elemental Teleport to just cover vast distances. A bit silly, so maybe there should be a max range on the Elemental node. Also, as the only level 6 feature, it's a bit of a stinker, as it's kind of just, hey, here's 2 more niche abilities, where the teleport's nice for anyone as a utility teleport, just like, bam, I'm over here now. So it's good for utility, but that's it. So then, level 10, we get Primeval Protection. So we get Elemental Fortitude. You get resistance to your chosen element's damage type. Why don't we have this earlier? Maybe add this to level 6 as a, hey, this is, you get a better, you get resistance to this. And while in the elemental node, you have immunity to the damage type. Once again, quite niche, though. Something I will point out, it is very nice that, because normally, it's kind of weird because this gets around a problem that comes up sometimes, especially for elemental damage types, where there are randomly fights where it suddenly becomes utterly useless to have this focus on an element. This turns that around and says, okay, well, now your elemental node does something interesting, as, like, if you're a fire primordial warlock and you're facing a red dragon, well, your elemental node's not going to do much for you. However, one thing you can do now is, oh, well, I can't use it to do damage, but I can summon it anyway, and then use it to buff my AC and give myself immunity to fire damage, or teleport away from the dragon and basically turn it into a defensive ability if you're fighting something that's immune to your damage type, because it uses that instead. So I actually really like this as a kind of subtle way of saying, hey, this still has uses even if the enemy is immune to it. So that's actually a really subtle and cool design that I don't know if they did this on purpose, but it's actually really cool. And then there's a kind of not feature here in node improvement, which, hey, the elemental node's now a 10-foot radius sphere, so it's easier to stand in. So, yeah, a bit weird in that part, but as it stands, Primeval Protection's overall pretty good. It's just, I kind of feel like the resistance should be earlier. Maybe add something else here, too. Like, granted, you are getting spells still, so around these levels, so I guess it's not the worst, because these are two of the better levels, unless you're water for 3rd rank, or I guess only air is really a stinker in 5th rank. And then Elemental Harbinger. So you get more effects to your elemental node, such as Elemental Vortex. So when you expend a Pact Magic slot, while within the elemental node, you attempt to pull a creature into the node. Yeah. And the creature has to make a strength save, aka what's on average the highest save in the game, or be pulled 15 feet towards the node. Honestly, I would cut the while you're within it. It does not... You should not have to be in your elemental node for this to trigger. I think as it is, it's fine. Also, your node now lasts for a whole hour, meaning you can do even more insane things with a teleport. Then, you also get Primordial Herald, so you can use Planar Ally while within the node area without expending a spell slot, and you can't do this again until you do your 2d4 long rests. And you have to use the name of your patron for this. So basically, a weird contact patron ability. Like, hey, here's a second contact patron. So, yeah, it's... Honestly, the later stuff, I think, gets a bit weird, because... it's very much a... okay, yeah, this is... like, at first it's like, okay, that's pretty cool, and then it's like, wait, why is everything wanting you to stand in this elemental node? Because it starts off not wanting you to stand in it, unless you're back to the blade, in which case, But then everything else does want you to stand in it, and it's kind of weird how much standing in it they do for something that doesn't start off wanting you to stand in it. But overall, I would just cut that Elemental Vortex needs you to stand in the zone, and then also maybe add a couple other abilities. But as it stands, I think this is definitely a cool new direction. It's one I like and would probably want to play, even if the abilities aren't amazing. Like, also maybe, like, at level 14, have, like, a detonate ability, so you can just detonate your elemental node for, like, hypothetically speaking, triple the damage. So it's like you can just detonate it to do lots of damage at a time. Or something. I don't know. Then we get 2 new invocations. So we get Elemental Transmutation for 2nd level up. Basically choose Acid, Cold, Fire, Lightning, or Thunder. Once per turn, whenever you deal damage to any of the types. You deal the chosen damage type instead, so yeah. Really wish this affected Eldritch Blast. As it stands, it's just not good. Also note that this isn't repeatable, unlike Elemental Overflow, which is repeatable. So Elemental Overflow, by the way, that one is just, once again, choose Acid, Cold, Fire, Lightning, or Thunder. When you cast a spell that deals a damage type, cause elemental energy to wreath you, so whenever a creature in 5 feet hits you with a melee attack roll, takes d4 damage of the chosen type. Not great. It definitely feels a bit blech. So, once again, I feel like this is more useful if you're running Pact of the Blade. And I will say, also, Elemental Transmutation, I would specify it can also work with Eldritch Blast or Pact weapons, specifically. And I would also, maybe even make some new ones that is like, hey, here's Elemental Transmutation for Pact weapons. So that triggers it. Maybe let Elemental Overflow also trigger when you do damage with a spell that does an elemental damage type. And also change Elemental Transmutation to be for all damage rolls of the spell, specifically for Eldritch Blast. As it stands, these are not good. With the way they're, like, Elemental Overflow is very meh. Elemental Transmutation needs a lot of work. It's missing the ability to take it multiple times. When it's like, well, what if I want to choose multiple damage types to swap to? So, like, if I wanted to do Lightning or Thunder, could I not do that? But overall, the invocations are a bit meh. But I do like 2 of the subclasses. Way of Venom's a bit weird. There's a bit of weirdness with the latter 2 anyway. I'm gonna just break stuff up because I don't have window capture available, apparently. But as it stands, I think this works fine. I'd like to see where they go with these, but anyway, without further ado, see y'all next time! Halo Zoo, out.